This is Birmingham News. Coming up, we catch up with Superintendent Keith Fraser on the eve of his retirement from West Midlands Police, as he urges more people from the black community to get into policing. Moseley Road's baths received some much-needed support from the Birmingham-based comedian Barbara Nice. And in sport, we'll be talking to Birmingham boxer Frankie Gavin ahead of his money-raising marathon attempt. It's your news for Birmingham and the West Midlands. Hello again. Superintendent Keith Fraser has been working in policing since 1985. Keith is the only black superintendent in West Midlands Police, despite the region being one of the most diverse in the country, but now he's retiring. This month also marks Black History Month, and we caught up with Keith to find out why he's urging more people from the black community to get into policing.
Superintendent Keith Fraser has been serving in the police force for 32 years. At just 13, he wrote to the Home Office expressing his interest in policing and fulfilled his dream aged 19 when he became a fully trained officer.
The way, way my mum and my dad looked at me and my brother was kind of looking up at me like that was, it just, for me, I could see the pride in their faces, and two, it showed me how, I'd made the right decision.
Keith is the only black superintendent for West Midlands Police, but he's now retiring. Over the years, he's had to deal with racism whilst working on duty.
There's a white chap helping this elderly white chap who'd collapsed. He was in his home, and I was trying to put his socks back on. He started getting quite agitated. He was trying to put his socks back onto his feet, and I looked at his wife and I said, "What's up?" And she said, "Oh, he doesn't want you to touch him because you're black." I was in a polling station and I was having a chat with two lovely young women. And as she walked out, she said to me, "You're a really lovely person. There's only one thing wrong with you. You're black." And that really kind of took me back.
Around 9% of West Midlands police officers are from black and minority ethnic communities, and Keith's urging more people from the black community to make a difference and join.
I shouldn't be like a museum piece, something that you go to the Albert Museum to kind of see. If you walk down the high street across the West Midlands, you see a whole variety of different people. Policing should reflect that. People probably perceive there's more racism in policing than there actually is, because I would not be part of an organisation which I thought was racist.
During his time, Keith has gone from beat patrols in Barking via New Scotland Yard to the region, taking on specialist roles. And his plans for retirement? Well, Keith's going to be working with charities to keep helping out the local community that he's dedicated his life to. Olivia Marks, Birmingham News.
On Monday, Hospice Care Week began as centres up and down the country stated the positive work that happens as people come to the end of their lives. And in the West Midlands, that was no different, as Hayden Atkins found out when he went to Stourbridge.
Hospice is often a place where friends, family and carers go as their loved ones pass away. A difficult time for many. Watching the clock tick down can be the hardest experience of someone's life. But as a part of Hospice Care Week, we went to the Mary Stevens Hospice in Stourbridge to find out what makes this place rather special. And Dan Malin, the hospice's digital expert, spoke to Birmingham News about what makes the place so special to everyone, and in particular him.
For me, it takes on a very personal sort of significance, because when I was 16, my mum passed away here. So there has always been that sort of drive and ambition in the back of my mind. As and when you get older, you pick up skills, you begin to build a career. Wouldn't it be amazing to do something I love for a place that will always be very special to me? And I mean, February last year, I was very lucky to be given the opportunity to do that. It was a bit of a dream come true for me. Having the opportunity to then go on and tell other people's stories, to raise awareness of the unbelievable work that we do.
We also spoke to Rachel Doyle, whose husband Aid received treatment at the centre before he sadly passed away. She told us their story.
We came in on the 29th of December and he actually stayed in here through to his death on the 3rd of July 2016. So he was the longest patient I think they've had here for a long time. So we saw winter, spring and summer. The last seasons of Adrian's life were spent here. But we also, Adrian was baptised in the peace room, and we also renewed our wedding vows, which we wouldn't have been able to do had Adrian not been here in the hospice, and with all the love and support that was given by the staff to enable us to do that. And that is a really special memory for us and for the rest of our family.
Also present was Doreen Rhodes, a rather larger-than-life character who comes to the hospice to enjoy time with her friends, with her cancer treatment showing signs of vast improvement.
Because I said I didn't want to come. And then when I came the first time, I love it. I really hate it when I can't come. Like next week, I've got a hospital appointment. I shan't be able to come. I'm down because I like this my day, Wednesday. Friendly, you make a lot of friends. Only downside is you lose a lot of friends. That, But apart from that, everybody's really brilliant. Can't speak highly enough. They do fantastic work.
People can come for a calm, happy and peaceful end to their lives, and it's testament to the staff and volunteers who make it all possible. This is Hayden Atkins for Birmingham News.
Thanks, Hayden. Police have released CCTV images of two men suspected of stabbing a teenager during a park robbery in Wolverhampton. The 19-year-old was sitting with a group of friends in Hickman Park when they were approached by three teenage boys. They demanded a set of speakers that the group were using, and when they refused, the boy was stabbed in the stomach. A bike was also stolen from a 15-year-old girl. Anyone with information is urged to call West Midlands Police on 101 or call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Aston University has been awarded £250,000 to support the growth of degree apprenticeships and help educate SMEs on how it can benefit businesses. The funding has been awarded by the Higher Education Funding Council for England and forms part of the second phase of the government's 2-year Degree Apprenticeships Development Fund programme. Birmingham News went to the Aston University to find out more.
What it helps Aston do is move forward in our mission to go out to those really hard to reach groups and ensure that we're increasing the inclusivity on our degree apprenticeships intake. What we're going to do with this fund is really boost those numbers and also go to those companies and organisations that might felt apprehensive about doing it before. So really our awareness raising is what this is going to do, and we're going to make sure by boosting those numbers we are increasing the opportunities that are available and options available for learners.
Sheila Ratu there from Aston University. Police are renewing their appeal for witnesses after an adventurous young doctor died in a collision on a busy road in Birmingham. Susanna Bull was involved in a collision with a lorry at the junction of Edgbaston Road and Pershaw Road on Monday afternoon. The cyclist was treated by paramedics, but despite their best efforts, she was pronounced dead at the scene. In a statement, her family said, "Susie was only 32, a determined, caring, adventurous young doctor with a great future ahead. She grew up in Nottinghamshire, then completed her medical degree at the University of Birmingham. Most recently, she'd been working at Birmingham Children's Hospital as part of her training. We have lost all too soon a beautiful daughter, sister and friend to so very many." The lorry driver stopped at the scene and is assisting police with investigations. Anyone with information is urged to contact the police. And a 14-year-old girl who was killed when she was hit by a train at a crossing in Walsall has been named by police as Sarah Athersmith. She was hit at Wallows Lane foot crossing near Bescot Stadium in September. Sarah crossed the tracks after a train had gone by, but was struck by a train moving in the opposite direction. You're watching Birmingham News here on Made in Birmingham. Coming up a little later, it's our entertainment show, The Lowdown. Let's have a quick preview.
Join us shortly here on The Lowdown, where on the show it will be all things orange. What's everyone wearing? What's Wiggins wearing? You'll be finding out very shortly. And also all about the great marathon run that's taking place this Sunday.
It's an incredible show, everybody. We have Alistair here, who's running in his giant Viola. It is incredible. We want to find out about the great initiative and charity he's running for, film news, and the game of attraction at the M Club.
Join us later.
Now, with a little help from Birmingham-based comedian Barbara Nice, the Moseley Road Baths Action Group have dived in and launched a crowdfunding campaign as they look to take over the running of the baths. A community interest group has been formed, and Hayden Atkins spoke to Barbara Nice and CIC member Kat Pearson about their plans.
I have swum at Moseley Road Baths longer than I care to remember, love. My kids have swum here and I think it's such a brilliant place. and everybody loves swimming. Do you love swimming?
I do. I swam all the way through university.
Well, I'm telling you, he's a nice looking lad because he's a swimmer. It's very good. It keeps you fit, doesn't it? And we've got to keep this kind of thing going. Birmingham needs, this is a jewel in Birmingham's crown, kid. It's absolutely beautiful. It's great for the local community. We want to keep swimming at Moseley Road Baths, love.
We're trying to maintain swimming and keep that going after April next year. So we are launching a crowdfunder today. We need minimum, well, we're looking for 13,500, but we need kind of 75,000. And then after that, we're hoping that the pool will be able to keep going and make enough to operate. Just that it's a really great local community resource. Not only is it a beautiful historic building, it's used by people throughout Birmingham, but it's very central to this community here in Balsall Heath. And we just hope that we can keep swimming because this is the purpose of this building, the swimming pool here. So.
The ever humorous Barbara Nice and Kat Pearson there. This is Birmingham News. Still to come in sport, we'll be talking to Birmingham boxer Frankie Gavin ahead of his money-raising marathon attempt. And don't tell him Pike, 44 years on. All that coming up after the break. Hello again and welcome back to Birmingham News. So then, let's take a look at the latest sports news now. Here's Sasha.
Thanks, Lee. Birmingham boxer Frankie Gavin will be running in the Birmingham Marathon this weekend in order to raise money for Macmillan. He told me why it's a cause close to his heart.
I've got sponsored off Holiday Rewards and Kevin Baker. His father passed away. There was one of the reasons. Also, I lost a very close friend, Danny Pedley, at age 27 to cancer. My mum's beat cancer. So a lot of reasons, really.
So obviously, marathon at the weekend, how are you feeling? You're in good form? What are your expectations from it?
I'll complete it. I'll just be happy to complete it. It's more of a fun one, really. We're just doing it for a good cause. We're going to help each other get through it.
And looking at the upcoming fight that you've got going on, can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, I've just joined a new gym now. I've teamed up with Dean Edwards, who trains with Jamie Cox. I'm in their group now, which will be good for me, I think. Might be fighting December as a warm-up, then I'm looking at a rematch with Curtis Woodhouse, an ex-Blue Nose who used to play for Birmingham City, so it'll be a good fight.
And speaking of the marathon, one of our runners, Shah Begum, spoke about the benefits of exercise for your mental health following World Mental Health Day.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about how running has helped improve my general mental health. I don't suffer from a diagnosed mental health condition. However, there have been bouts in my life, particularly over the last few years, when I've had a lot of things going on in the background, where I've suffered from bouts of depression, feeling as if I can't cope very well with life, and just generally feeling as if I'm not well in my head, if that makes sense. I didn't seek help because of the stigma attached to that kind of thing. I didn't want to be labelled as someone who was crazy, or I didn't want to be seen as somebody who couldn't cope or who couldn't just deal with life. Everybody else seems to, so I don't understand why I couldn't. When I took up running, it made a real difference and a real boost to just my general mental well-being. Being outside, being able to enjoy the fresh air, I think is a massive boost, especially during the winter months, when I tend to run kind of in the daytime. So it forces me out during daylight hours and out for a run. It just makes me feel all fresh and invigorated. It's just brilliant. But also I've met some lovely people through running. Friends, colleagues, random people and strangers that high-five me, and that just gives you such a mood boost. So never underestimate how much of an effect running can have on your mental health and well-being. If you are somebody who suffers from mental health disorders, please seek help. Please allow yourself to be helped. Please speak to your friends and family. Keep your loved ones close to you. If you know somebody who is going through mental health issues, support them, offer them assistance, be kind to them. Don't be one of those people that just attaches a stigma to them and avoids them because you don't know how to help them. Go up to them, say hello, offer them cake. That's usually a really good start. So on World Mental Health Day, let's all work together to end the stigma. And if you are a runner, encourage your friends and family around you to use the activity that you like to help them improve their lives and themselves. If you're not a runner, perhaps think about joining a walking or running or jogging group. In Cannon Hill Park, there's a monthly run and chat session. Basically, a group of people get together, they just walk and jog around the park. There are some people who are trained in mental health issues that come along as well. If you want to have a chat to them, great. If you just want to enjoy being out in the sunshine and making some new friends, that's also great. Please come along, please look into these things. So on World Mental Health Day, look after yourself and look after each other.
Best of luck to Frankie and Sean in the race on Sunday, which will be showing live on Made in Birmingham. And you may remember last week when Connie May Cartwright, the young Carter champion, spoke to me ahead of the Bonsai Cup in Berlin, while she returned from that competition, which was also her first international event with nothing less than a gold trophy after coming in first place. She spoke to me about how she found it. Connie, congratulations. You've just come back from Berlin and you've got a really beautiful trophy with you. Tell me how it was.
It felt really good, but I was really scared at first because it was my first international competition.
And Mike, what did you make of her performance? Obviously, she came away with gold. She got first place, but what did you make of it?
It's really hard to sort of gauge the athletes because obviously with international competition. With it being Connie's first international competition, it was tough because obviously we didn't know any of the athletes, we didn't know their backgrounds, how they were going to compete on the day. Within England and Britain, we sort of can gauge really, but Connie's took that away, and she had a little bit of nerves on the first round, but after she got the first round out of the way, it was smooth sailing after that. She didn't drop a flag the whole way through the competition, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. So she won by the maximum amount of points the whole way through, which was brilliant.
Wow, that's incredible. So for your first international competition, that's brilliant. And do you see there being many more international competitions? Like, when's the next one?
For us as a club, what I'm going to be trying to do is in the next couple of months do some fundraising to try and sort of fund us to go abroad. If we can make sort of 2-3 competitions abroad a year, that'll be great, and then keep on working on the domestic competitions at home around the UK.
And that's all for today's sport. If you'd like to get in touch, email sport@madeinbirmingham.tv. Back to Lee.
Thanks, Sasha. So then, let's take a look now at the weather forecast for the West Midlands.
Hello there. After some early mist and fog clear across the country, it should be quite a fine and bright day for many, and this is clearly the case across Birmingham and the West Midlands. It's looking pretty bright and clear in most places, a little more cloud to the east or northeast of the region, and we can see those wind speeds only reaching around 13 miles per hour. For afternoon highs, we expect around 14 degrees Celsius, so very slightly cooler, and it does appear that clouds should be shifting slightly, which could allow for clearer skies during the afternoon. Then from around 10 p.m. onwards, we're looking at highs dropping to 12 degrees for most, slightly cooler in Shrewsbury, down to 7 degrees Celsius. Then moving through the night and into Friday morning, clouds look to be building slightly, so it could be slightly more overcast. Winds increasing too, so we're looking at around 16 miles per hour and highs up to 17 or 18 degrees Celsius. Now, this lovely shot was taken by Megan, showing off Birmingham city centre. Keep those pictures coming. It's weather at madeinbirmingham.tv. The outlook then, both Friday and Saturday look more grey and overcast, but brighter on Sunday to end your weekend, and temperatures rising to the high teens at the start of next week.
And finally, have you ever heard this before? Don't tell 'em, Pike. Yeah, it's one of the most famous lines from Dad's Army, and would you believe it was first broadcast in the episode called The Deadly Attachment back in October 1973, some 44 years ago. But of course it's still being repeated to this day. Now, Private Frank Pike was of course played by Ian Lavender, who was born in Birmingham, and back in 2015 he was honoured on the Birmingham Walk of Stars. Jasper Carrott was on hand to lead the praise.
He's obviously one of the best known characters in British comedy. There was a wonderful successful series called Dad's Army that is still being, I think the first episode was 1967, and they're still showing it today. And that is such a sign of great comedy when, 40 years on, you're still watching and you're still laughing. One of the most popular characters in Dad's Army was Frank Pike. I think when his first appearance was as a fetus, I think. It was so long ago. But he is within the hearts of everybody in this country. And he is one of the 2 surviving characters from Dad's Army. And he's here today to receive his Walk of Stars from our very own Lord Mayor. Will you please welcome Ian Lavender.
I remember the first careers meeting. Lavender, right. So what do you want to be, Lavender, when you leave school? Which, is probably 8 years' time. What do you want to be? I want to be an actor, sir. Yes, but what do you really want to be? And I learned very quickly, by about the 3rd interview with Ralph Gaskell, that when he said, Lavender, what are you going to do when you grow up? What do you want when you leave school? What's your career path, do you think? That if I said, teacher, sir, he'd say, good lad, and I'd be left alone.
I would like to present you with this award on behalf of the council and the city itself. As a Brummie, it's a special event for you, and we'll welcome you back to the city.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Don't tell them, Pike, 44 years ago. Wow. And so that's it for the moment from me and the team here at Birmingham News. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then our email address is news@madeinbirmingham.tv. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.